It is never boring here. We have cheap entertainment. We have all kinds of entertainment.
Deliveries coming. We have everything going on.
Yes, everyone's coming here. So if you want a good laugh, stop by.
It is.
But we have a special guest, which is Miss Shelley. It's your anniversary.
It
It's
is
40 years.
I know. It's Friday. It's officially Friday. We're going to barbecue on Saturday. But just before you got here, all morning I've been working on pictures.
I saw that.
I was trying not to do it. You know how when God has a plan and you keep fighting God's plan? Well, that's what I've been doing all week, okay? I've been trying everything I couldn't to get this box out. And God kept on saying, get the box out, get the box out. So I got the box out today, and I'm finding all these old pictures, which is bittersweet for me because my parents are in heaven.
Right.
But neat also. So then God said, make it fun. And I said, make it fun? How am I going to make this fun today, right? He had me taking pictures of pictures and sending them to people that have been on WAPN from years ago and different parts of my life. And now it's been like such joy. I'm like looking for the next picture so I can send it to somebody.
Right.
But isn't how God takes sorrow and turns it into amazing?
Right, because we're going to see them one day again.
Right.
So he's like, come on, like, don't be sad.
Right. Wait, what is your problem, Shell? Get with it, you know? And I was like, okay, I'll get with it. And so it has been interesting today. But anybody is invited to come out Saturday until food runs out. It's 11:30. It's going to be in our parking lot. And you get to tour the radio station. When it's so cute to see people who've never been in a radio station. Like the FedEx guys that were just here.
Yeah.
They had never been in a radio station. And they're like, wow, that's pretty cool. You know, and I take it for granted.
And the FedEx, by the way, Miss Shelley feeds the FedEx.
I know.
Yes,
They
snacks,
love it.
drinks. Yes,
Yep.
we take care of.
Well, because I believe that when people serve you, you should serve them.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's that small little bit of kind today that you can give to somebody else that might be life-changing for them.
Every day, because you just never know what people are going through.
Well, like they were talking about their daughter was in the military, in the Army,
Yes.
and a nurse. And I said, well, we prayed for the military. And you could just see how their step changed. Did you see that?
Yes, I
kind of
did.
like, wow. You know, and I said, I love the military. I love the police. And they're like, their whole mannerism changed.
They walked out with like an ear-to-ear smile.
Right.
It was just beautiful.
And don't you
see?
think we can do that everywhere we go?
We should. We
Totally,
should.
we should, totally.
Yeah, because what does God call us to do? To be the salt and the light until He returns. We're supposed to occupy and be the light, be the salt of the earth, and just edify each other.
Don't you think this week we've got a great example of that? This last week with Charlie Kirk dying and the service and all that, when she stood there and she said, I forgive.
I have goosebumps.
Yeah.
The whole week before that, I felt the Lord saying that she's asking me to help her to forgive him. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's just going to glorify. Mm-hmm. And that's what Jesus is. Mm-hmm. He forgives the worst of the worst. Mm-hmm. Like, you're never too far gone for Jesus. Like, if you have breath in your lungs, every passing moment is a chance to turn it all around with Jesus and only Him. And yes, and I just love that was such an Esther moment. Like, that was such a Jesus moment.
Did you watch the whole service?
I did.
So at the very beginning, when they had the altar call, basically,
yes,
of 100,000 people,
pretty much,
and said, "Stay sitting if you already know Jesus. Stand if you want Him to be in your life." And I thought, wow. And then I love this part. They said, "Now the person that's sitting next to you, you pray for that person that's standing." And I thought, what an altar call. Now, see, I'm not a big person that likes altar calls at services, okay? I don't know why. I'm just a weirdo. It's okay. But I don't know if I ever feel like they're appropriate, okay? That was so appropriate. And the worship that day with all the artists singing together and just the different people, and for her to get up there, man, the grace, the strength.
And only Jesus could have done that.
And did you see her speak Jesus before she started talking, before she walked up to the pulpit?
Jesus, Jesus. Yes.
And I love that because my mom would always tell me my whole life growing up, no matter what, call out the name of Jesus.
Amen. Amen.
You know, if you can't speak, if you can't think, if you can't do nothing, call out the name of Jesus, and he'll show up right there for you, and you'll be able to handle it. And I thought, man, this is just awesome. You know, I just felt it the entire time that I watched that. And I hope that that movement that was already happening, I already believe it was happening with the young people. I have just seen it in the music changing, the, you know, young people coming to the Lord. I've seen all that. But I think that this just took it to another level, that they're not ashamed of the gospel.
No. And thank God, because, you know, and I just hope that this reaches even more.
I think it will. I really do. I really feel in all my heart that a terrible, terrible thing that happened, but God's going to use this for wow. I mean, he is using this for wow. He's already using it for wow. So I can't even imagine what it's going to be like even more.
Amen. Yeah, he was, and Elon, he said, you know, they interviewed him. Did you see that?
I didn't get to see that.
Okay. Yeah, they were like, so what do you think? And he was like, Charlie was spreading light and love and the truth, and the darkness got him. That's what he said. And he walked away. He looked like he was about to cry, you know, and he's a very emotional man. Like people, you know.
So I think for Testimony Tuesday, we have just walked through a week of amazing testimonies and a week of wow. And it makes you stop and think. I know I have reflected a lot of things in my life. You know, I was mad at somebody for a long time. I mean, like mad. And I was right, they were wrong. And, you know, I was that person. And a few years ago, I had an opportunity to forgive. And it was only God. It was only God, because I carried that. I just, And one day, I'll never forget, God said, you need to forgive that person. I said, well, they're not here. They're 3.5 hours away. How am I going to forgive them? You know, I had my whole, you know.
I love your dialogue
Because that's how I talk. Well, that's how I talk to God. Yes. You know, I'm like hanging out.
You're real.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm hanging out. I want to know what's going on here.
You having coffee? Yeah.
Right. I want to know. So I was like talking back and forth, you know, and he's going, it has nothing to do with you seeing that person. Wow. It has to do with your heart. And you aren't going to be able to move on until you forgive this person. And guess what? You're wrong in this also. I was like, I'm wrong. You know, there went my attitude again, right? And then by the time at the end of the conversation, I did not win. I was totally wrong. And so I thought, okay. And, you know, I did feel this light come off of me, you know, this weight, this heaviness. And I thought, okay, went on my merry little way. Then I had an opportunity to see that person. So it was at a funeral, and God said, okay, I want you to go. I want you to take these pictures down there that you need to bring down there anyways, and I want you to go. Again, the Shelley comes out, the flesh, fighting with God. No, I'm not going. It's 3.5 hours away. The weather, it was terrible weather, and I hate to drive in the rain. I'm that Florida person that hates the rain.
Because it can get bad. Let's
right,
face
because
it.
nobody knows how to drive in it. So it's like they're all idiots, okay? So, nope, you're going. My daughter said, I'll go with you, Mom. We go. I can't find the place. It's the most stupidest parking lot I've ever been in my life. You know, everything that was trying to get me not to go. Okay?
Right.
So I walked in, and I said, well, I'm just going to sit in the back row. Because it's not about me. It's about, you know, the service that we're at, the funeral. I don't want to cause a scene.
Right.
So I'm sitting there, and lo and behold, the person keeps getting closer to me and closer to me. And I'm like squirming in my seat. I'm like, okay. And God says, it's your moment. So she got close to me, and I just wrapped my arms around her, and I said, will you forgive me? I have been a jerk. I said, my problem with you was that you're so much like me. And do you know, wow, that moment changed forever. And then we made it through the rest of the service, you know, and I had to get back on the road, and I gave the pictures and stuff, and we'll walk into the car, and there was a double rainbow. And I took a picture of the double rainbow, and I sent it to her. And I said, God's promises never fail. And I felt like that this whole last week, that people that got in an argument with their husbands when they were getting ready to walk out the door, or your kid, or you're mad at the teacher, or you're mad at the guy that just pulled out in front of you, or whatever your reason is.
Right.
I think we've rethought all that this week. And I hope that we keep rethinking it.
Yeah. I hope it gets stronger.
And I really feel in my heart it's going to, because I feel like this is our moment in time. I feel the shift in the world, you know.
Yeah.
We're not going to all agree. We're just not.
Right.
And I'm glad we don't. Aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes like you really meet some hard-headed people.
I know. I have a few of them in here. I'm probably one of them. But aren't you glad you have that also? See, I am. Because it makes me rethink about how I need to act. You know, if I always had everything perfect and everything going great, would I always be kind? Would I always offer a cold drink? Would I, you know what I'm saying?
I understand.
It's
Right.
not that hard. But when everything's going great and everybody's getting along, do you do those things?
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true.
So I just think this week is a great opportunity for all of us to relook and rethink and realize that at a moment's notice, your life can change.
Yeah, and just have the courage to be bold. You know, I mean, to me, I look at it like, you know, I've started looking at the bigger picture.
Okay.
Which
And what
is
do you see
eternity.
Okay.
And I'm like, you know, I want everyone to make it, you know, and but getting back to you and forgiving. Now, let me ask you something. Do you feel that by you not forgiving, you kind of blocked your blessings?
Yeah, oh, totally.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Did you see them start moving back into play?
I missed years of a relationship with my brother. I missed years of when we did get together at a family thing, my attitude. You know, I did. I had a sour face. I had a bad attitude. I missed a lot of those things. And one of the really coolest things that came out of this, not a good thing, but a cool thing, is after that happened, my brother got very ill and was raced to a hospital down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for emergency surgery. I was in the hospital for 6 weeks, and we didn't think he was going to make it. But I believe with all my heart that if I wouldn't and done that act that God had me do, and I totally believe it, I wasn't doing it because God asked me to do it. I really needed to forgive the person. We needed to have that relationship
Right.
mended.
Of course.
I would have never got to find out that my brother was in a hospital. I would have never got to send him texts every day. I would have never got those pictures. Now, my brother made it, and my brother is doing great, and I'm so thankful. But I could have missed all that because I was a stubborn brat. I was just as much as wrong as the other person was, or more, because I held on to it. You know,
that's what I love about you, Shelley. I love that you're so organic and transparent. You're like, I was a brat. I was a stubborn brat.
I was, and I was a Christian, and I was a stubborn brat.
Yeah.
And I trusted God, and I knew all the right things, and I've been all the right places, and blah 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 blah. But I still have flesh, and I'm still a human.
And we're still dying to our flesh.
Right.
Because the flesh wants what the flesh wants.
Totally.
It's not going to heaven. It's going in the ground.
So
let's kill it. Let's kill it off. And it's a daily process.
Daily.
When God says, renew your mind daily.
Yep.
You know?
And then when I got that hurt in me and that upsetness in me and all that, it just like festered, like, you know, a sore. It was just always there. And the funny part was I was always picking it. You know what I'm saying? Because it could have maybe healed. Some things could have maybe happened, but I was going to be right. And
what do you get from being right?
Nothing.
Right.
Pride, arrogantness, jerkness. There's so many words, you know. And so I'll never forget that day. I don't even know the date, but I know the day. And I'll never forget driving down there, and everything that could come against me tried to come against me. You know, getting the terrible weather, getting lost, this parking lot. There's no way there was a funeral at this parking in this area. There's just no way. And I was giving up. And
thank God you had your daughter with you.
Yeah, 'cause she's just as stubborn as I am. But it's funny that moment in time changed the path that I was going.
Right.
And I really believe that somebody that's listening today, you're in that moment in time. Maybe you're thinking about getting a divorce. I don't know. Maybe you're thinking about getting high. Maybe you're thinking about making some bad choices today. Maybe you're a teenager that is going to do something stupid because you think it's cool. You know, there's all these choices are out there right now. And it's real easy to take the easy choice. And those are all, to me, easier than having to face what's going on. You know, I've had to face some ugly stuff in my life. And have I been really happy about it? Not at all. Have I been really thankful that I had them? Yeah. Because if I wouldn't have faced that day, I can guarantee you, I wouldn't have known my brother was ill.
Thank God he made
I'm
it.
so thankful. You know, and so whatever the person is facing, really look at it and how is that going to affect next week, the month, a year, 5 years? You know, I've had friends that have never met their father because of a choice or whatever, you know, or kids that have ran away because they thought that was a cool thing and something happened. And those parents never got to see that kid again.
Yeah, it's tough.
Well, we live in that world.
Yeah, and it's very fallen. It's a very fallen world.
But don't you think the bad choice is easier?
In the moment.
Totally in the moment.
But then the long run,
Never.
like I heard someone say, actually, well, when I was a baby Christian, I started listening to Joel Osteen.
I love Joel Osteen.
Yeah, and I met him a couple of times, and I feel the Holy Spirit on that man. Like, I'm like, you know, and he's shy, and, you know, but he's personable, and you truly feel the Holy Spirit.
My mom used to always go to his church. They would fly to Texas.
Nice.
Her and my sister.
Oh, you see? And he said something that really stuck with me. He said, discipline is only ounces, where regret is in pounds.
Ooh.
And that always stuck with me.
Right, because for women, we totally get ounces and pounds. I mean, we do. Hello.
Paste it on.
But we do. You know how that is a totally good analogy.
Yeah.
That is really a good analogy.
And it just always stuck. So, you know, but yeah, so yes, in the moment, you know, it's like, okay, you want to feed that feel good, and you know, whether it's whatever it is, if it's just, you know, a compliment, whatever, a flirting, who knows, you know, whatever it is that is feeding you at the moment because of what you think you're lacking. Yeah, it's but then I truly feel in the long run, you know, it's like,
Well, one bad decision made the next bad decision, made the 28th bad decision, made 582 bad decisions.
It's a domino effect. Right.
And that was totally what I was saying, is because when I got that mad and ruined the relationship, and I did, I was pretty good at it, it didn't just stop there. Because then every time there was a family thing, or every time there was I was the root of the evil. I really was, because I was carrying it, and I was going to prove that I was right. And I wasn't right, and I wasn't wrong. It was a situation, but forgiveness needed to be given.
Yeah, there was. I feel you 1,000%. I had the same exact thing, except it was targeted at my child. And I'm a mama bear.
I was going to say, redheaded stepchild when it's involving your child.
Yes, and I'm like, if the enemy knows what will get me going, it's my children. And so I was wrestling with God. I was like, but God, but look at what they did, and and I, like you, like totally like trying to
win the argument,
but also trying to make it okay as to why I feel like this, right? And this is what the Lord said to me. I remember, and you know what? I will brag on the Lord all day from here to Kingdom Come, okay? He literally said to me, and he was so sweet about it, because he knows how to get to, you know, he's your father. He knows what's going to work with you, you know? And he said to me, so sweet, he went, Catherine, why do you want my job? And I went, oh, no. But he said it so sweet. And I was like, no, because I was telling him what he should do. And I'm like,
we're so good at that, aren't we?
Oh my goodness. And I went, oh, I was so convicted, but in such a beautiful way. And I said, Lord, okay, I get it. I don't want your job. No way. No way. I don't. You do it better. And I said, but Jesus, this really hurts. Like this is
the straw that breaks the camel's back.
This was it. you know, and this affected every part, you know, in my life. And I said, but I'm going to need your help on this big time, because I cannot do it without you. Well, we went to a family gathering, and it was the kid's birthday. And I'm telling you, this was only Jesus. I went up to the person that I had an offense with, and I just hugged her and squeezed her. And that was only Jesus. And it was a continual work, you know, because when trust is broken, even though God wasn't asking me to retrust this person, but he was directing me that it doesn't matter. I still want you to show love.
Right. Just like when I hugged that person,
Yeah.
we didn't go to lunch that afternoon and get pedicures.
Right.
We did not go do all those things.
Right.
But I knew at that moment when I walked out of that funeral that there was a beginning.
Right.
And the door was open. It was always slammed shut with deadbolts. Now it was open. And at that point, you have the opportunity to keep it open or slam it shut.
Right.
And it's a work in progress.
Yes. No, yeah.
But aren't you glad that you went through it?
Yes. It felt, yes. And it was like, you know, the burden was off of me. And God, what does God say? You know, and I kept reading this. God says, hey, if you don't forgive, I'm going to throw you to your tormentors.
Right.
And he truly did. And I'm like, because I was being tormented. And every time there was a family gathering, I would be like, oh,
Right.
like it would just like, it would irritate me. And
I would walk in
and
with
then I
that
have to,
attitude.
I'm not, and I would tell my husband, I'm not a fake person. I don't have a poker face. Everything just shows.
Mine does too. I mean,
and that's why I relate to you.
yeah, because it was like, okay, here I go.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But
But
now,
you're tougher. Like you could like
I
throw
don't
an
know if I'm
uppercut.
tougher. It's just that I don't back down.
Well, yeah.
But that doesn't make me tougher. That just makes me stubborner.
Is that what that is? But I love it. Just so you know, but it's a part of you. But you know, it's also God equipped you because it can be used for great things.
Totally.
Where
I would
you
not
don't
be
back down.
where I'm at today and having a radio station and all the things if I wasn't tough.
And carrying the legacy.
Right.
Because that's what it is.
Totally. I'm the second generation. Yvonne's the third. My granddaughter, Chloe, who's now sending music, is the fourth. And
Yeah, she's sending music.
I know.
She's, yeah.
You know, and it's amazing. You know, like I said, this week has been bittersweet.
Right. And I see all the pictures by the desk.
And it's been bitter. You know, like I look at them and I think, but God is so gracious because what I started today and I was getting all upset and freaking out and doing all the things that emotionally you want to do. He said, turn it around. Send those pictures to that person. And then that person was going, oh my goodness, that was back in 1999. And that person, and it started turning it to joy.
Right.
It almost gave me fuel to
Right.
keep looking for another picture. You know what I'm saying? It got me excited. So God will use anything, any platform, any place, any time, any whatever, to help you with whatever you need.
Isn't it great that he'll always meet you where you're at?
We're good. I own the place. We can go a couple minutes extra. I just have to do a station ID.
But I just love, okay, so, I mean, when I first came here, I was drawn to your little library. And I don't know, I just felt like a closeness, like it was special, you know?
It's very special.
And the book that I picked, I asked if I could take a book, and the book that I picked was 101 Amazing Things About Heaven.
Yep.
And that's, I you know, and talking about the bigger picture. I mean,
That's our goal.
Right. Like, forget the promotion. That is your promotion, you know? And there are awards in heaven. it's like if we thought about the bigger picture, it's like we want everyone to go there. Listen, guys, I don't even want my worst enemy going to hell. It's an eternal torment. I don't have that in my heart. If you guys have that in your heart, check yourself, because it shouldn't be there. Ask God to pluck out the stones, and He'll do it. But your mom had an amazing experience, and you got to witness it. And I was just so enthralled in your story with your mom. I'm so fascinated with your mom.
First of all, that little bookshelf that we have, my mom had a 25 by 20 library in her house.
Oh, wow.
Full of books. And my parents were married over 55 years. Okay. And when my dad died, everybody thought my mom would last about 7 months. They always say when you're married that long, you're one. And that when one person dies, the other person dies a broken heart. Right. My mother did not do that. My mother decided that she was going to become Erlene Lunn. Now, I know that sounds kind of weird when I say that. But when you're married 55 years, and she was a Proverbs 31 perfect woman, as far as, godly woman and all, you were part of your husband. So you really didn't have your own identity. Back in the day, especially.
Right.
So I was her mom, or she was somebody's grandmother, or she was Gordon's wife, or she owned WAPN, but she didn't feel like she was Erlene Lund.
Got it.
So when my dad went to the Lord, she dove in to really wanting to have an identity. So she started doing these different books and stuff, and she started doing prayer line more here at WAPN, and she really got interested in heaven. She wanted to make sure that my dad was okay, I guess. So she really got involved with heaven and stuff. And she even took the word widow. And in the middle of the word widow, you see, I do. And she married Jesus. She said, I do. I don't need anything else. I just need you. Amen. And she started doing widow classes, and she was just involved totally in finding out about heaven. And she would do all these interviews about heaven. We would learn different things. And one of the things we learned is that you're at your best state in heaven. So if you had diabetes, like my father had, before he got diabetes and heart problems, he was in his 30s. So when he went to heaven, they say that you go back to your healthiest point. So he was probably 35, all right? So I said, well, Mom, how will you find him? Well, you got pictures of him? Because, he's changed a lot. And we would make it, fun things.
Right.
Because that was the goal, to go to heaven. Even though you're hurting, that was your goal. And it's easier said than done. Because there was days I remember that she would just ache. Her heart would just be broken that my dad wasn't here. Because my dad was such a wonderful man. My mom did not know how to pump gas, make left-hand turns when she was driving, because she never drove. He always drove her.
I love it.
She knew about money and stuff, but she didn't know some of the easy, normal things. I'm just going to do the station ID real quick. Absolutely. WAPN Holly Hill, WAPB Madison. So when he first died, me and Herbie started doing a lot of stuff together. Tim was so gracious. Tim just stepped up. I mean, him and my dad did not get along.
Really?
Not that they weren't great guys, but they both loved me so much that they butted heads over me. Because
I love it.
I always needed my dad for everything. My dad was there at some of the darkest times of my life. And then I met Tim, and I didn't need my dad anymore. So that made him mad.
Aww.
And then Tim was like, hey, I'm the boyfriend. I'm the husband to be, buddy, we don't need you anymore. So it was a little bit of a conflict. But then when my dad died, Tim stepped up for my mom. And he was so good to her. Oh, my goodness. My mom did not know how to program the remote for the TV. It was always cheap entertainment. So we had to teach her on that. And she also had a remote for her bed, to make her legs go up and stuff. So she was watching news at night, and we were learning that she would not go to bed. Oh. Because she would be up praying for everybody all night long, because she'd watch the news and felt like it was her job to pray for every bad thing in the world.
I can relate to your mom.
Okay, so she never got sleep. So we said, okay, Mom, we got to get you something good. So she loved Archie Bunker, and she loved I Love Lucy. So we went out, we got her a DVD player and all these DVDs, and we said, Mom, after a certain time at night, you don't need to be watching anything bad. Watch comical, funny, good old shows. All right, she loved that, and she had her, she stayed in her room, and she kept my dad's side of the bed perfectly made at all times, and this is just how life was.
Right.
Well, one night, she grabbed the wrong remote. She ended up in a V. Her legs were up and her head was up, and she was literally in a V because that's what the bed did, and she couldn't get the bed back, and the TV was blaring, and she was just having
Right.
She didn't want to call Tim because she knew he needed sleep. She didn't want to get out of the bed because it was the middle of the night, so she stayed like that all night.
Oh my goodness.
Till the next morning when she called my husband, and my husband graciously went there and fixed it. So then we put certain tape on this remote.
Right.
But that's the kind of relationship that formed with
Right.
my husband and my family. She came to our house every Sunday. I am not a laundry girl, just so everybody knows. Yes, I have clean clothes on, but I'm the kind of girl that would just like wash it, dry it, and I would just pick it out. I'm fine with that. I don't have to hang it up. I'm fine. Okay, that takes too much time. My mother loved laundry. My dad's underwear and all would always be folded. It was so funny, okay? And my dad always wore white, and then it was always
Right.
spotless, okay?
Right.
So Tim wanted my mom to make sure she was eating and stuff because, when you're alone,
Yeah.
you don't want to cook and stuff. So every Sunday, he would invite her to eat. Or are you going to come get me? She would say, and he'd go, no, you're going to drive to our house. Well, Tim, because she didn't like to make laughs.
Right.
He said, Erlene, you're going to have to figure it out. What do you want for dinner? I want a filet. I'll make you a filet, but you're going to have to drive. Sometimes she'd go past the house and it'd take her a
Like
while.
that he challenged her.
Yep. And he'd say, now, Shelly's going to do all the laundry. And I'd throw it all on our bed. And he'd be cooking on the grill. And he'd say, you girls fold the laundry, and then we'll eat dinner. So it taught me more about folding laundry and the importance of that. And I know that sounds
Right.
really stupid at 40-something years old that I didn't like to fold laundry. But it just wasn't a priority to me. But my
Right.
mom taught me the excellency of doing small things make bigger things more important.
Yeah.
So we would fold laundry. We'd have dinner, and then she'd go, did you have dessert? Because, see, now my dad was a diabetic, so my mom would never eat dessert around my dad.
I gotcha.
We'd always have dessert, and she'd always put her fingers up and say she wanted 2.
Aww.
So those were wonderful, great times with my mom.
What was her favorite dessert?
Anything that was sweet.
Okay.
Okay, she wanted any cake, and she
cake.
loved ice cream cake from Dairy Queen.
Oh, nice.
But that went on for years, and my mom had some medical things happen, but nothing like that shocked the world.
Right.
At one point she did have to get a kidney removed, but when they removed it, they were like, because she had cancer when she was younger, they just said that was scar tissue and causing that kidney not to work, so they would wanted to remove the one. A lot of people only have one kidney, they'll be fine. And she was. I mean, she was fine. Then she started getting, normal UTIs and stuff that you get as you get older. And because she only had one kidney, they'd have to put a stent in again. Nobody ever was worried. Okay. It was just like, it was kind of like a maintenance thing. You go get an oil
gotcha.
change. My mom had to go
Yeah.
get a stent. Okay.
An oil change.
So like for 2 years we did this, and it was like really just part of life. Okay. My mom ran the radio station. My mom and I loved to go get our nails done. We loved to go shopping. My mom loved to sew. My mom was a seamstress.
Aw.
And she would go in a store and have to touch every single item to feel the fabric.
Right.
I would give anything to touch every single item and feel the fabric with my mom today. But we had those moments. And before we knew it, she got this really bad pain on her one side. And it was just weird. And so I took her to the hospital, and they said, we need to run some more tests. Mm-hmm. And they thought it was scar tissue again. Mm-hmm. And they said, so what we need to do is do a block right there
Okay.
so that, it will stop hurting. It's probably pulling or whatever. So we did that. It didn't help. Okay. So they said, well, we need to get a PET scan. Now, I didn't know what a PET scan was. I mean, I know she had cancer years ago, but I didn't know the wording, okay, the technology or whatever. And so my mom says, no.
Where was her pain?
Oh, it was right on her lower side. And so
Okay.
it was all where the kidney was.
Right.
Okay. But God had a perfect plan. And I can say that now.
Right.
If my mom wouldn't have got her kidney removed, we would never know that she had pancreatic cancer. Because where your pancreas is, your kidney kind of guards it, and you can't get a biopsy. And so most people die with pancreatic cancer. You really don't know that that's what it is.
Right.
Because my mom had that kidney removed, they were able to take a biopsy, and they found out she had pancreatic cancer. You usually don't come back from that. My mom's was in the 4th stage, going on the 5th stage, so it was done. My mom, even the day we went and got the PET scan, was praying for people. We get to go get the PET scan, and my mom goes, I'm not doing it. I said, well, Mom, it's fine if you don't want to do it, but they're not going to give you any pain medicine. You're being non-compliant. And my mom hated not be compliant. She was one of those people that always did everything right, you know. And so she goes, okay, I'll just get it, make you happy. And I said, okay. So she went back there. She comes beaming out of the back room, smiling from ear to ear. And I'm thinking, what went on back there, right?
What did they give you?
Right. And she goes, I know why I was here. And I said, why were you here, Mom? And she goes, because that man needed prayer.
Aww.
I said, okay. So I said to the lady as we're leaving, I said, how long does it take until you find out about the PET scan? She says, you'll know about an hour and a half. We'll call you. I said, okay. So we left and we went and got something to eat and we went and shopping and blah, blah, blah. We went home and no call. So we're thinking no news is good news.
Exactly.
Right? Mm-hmm. So it's now getting after 5 and I do have a life. I have a husband and all that. So I was like, Mom, I'm going to go. Mm-hmm. Tell me what you want me to get at Publix. And in the morning I'll go to the grocery store and I'll bring it to you.
Right.
Because I would always go do her grocery shopping, all those things. Mm-hmm. Not that she couldn't. I would just do it.
No, you just, being a good daughter.
So she gives me the list. She loved peach yogurt. Oh. And she loved peach shakes from Chick-fil-A.
Me too. That's my favorite.
When they were in season, I had to be there every day.
Yes.
So I'm at Publix, and back in the day, my mom's been gone 13 years. Cell phones weren't as good, So I'm in Publix, and my phone kept going off. Mm-hmm. So I walked to the front of the store with my groceries, and it's my mom. I said, Mom, what's going on? I'm in Publix. Can I call you right back? No. I said, what's going on? She goes, they called. I have cancer. I said, who called? What time? It's after 5. And she goes, they called. I have cancer. I went to the front desk and I said, can you just do something with these groceries? I got an emergency phone call. And I left. I drove to her house. I said, what do you want to do, Mom? She says, well, I want to call Pastor Rayleigh and Pastor Ron Fussell. Pastor Rayleigh and Dawn they're pastors, and Ron Fussell is a personal pastor of the family. And she just said, we're going to beat it. She beat cancer before, she was going to beat it again. It didn't happen. But for those 13 days, we went to the doctor the next day. They got us immediately into an oncologist, and the oncologist didn't even want to tell my mom how bad it was. And we're there for 3 hours. And I'm looking at him like he's an idiot. And he's not telling her. He kept calling comfort care. And we're like, what the heck is comfort care, right?
He didn't want to ruin her spirit.
He didn't want to take away her spirit, whatever. And so my sister and my mom go to the car, and I'm waiting because now I'm mad. Imagine that. And the doctor came out and I said, excuse me, what is going on?
Right.
And he goes, your mom doesn't have 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I said. I said, what do you mean she doesn't have 2 weeks? You told her she's going to have comfort care. What do you mean she doesn't have comfort care? Are you going to give her an IV and she's going to be good? And he goes, that's not what we're doing. He goes, she's now at Comfort Care's hospice. Here's the number you need to call. You need to get this set up. She can go to a place. Blah, blah. And I said, she's not going anyplace. I mean, I was just that's when the child in you comes out.
Yeah.
That's my mom.
Of course.
I'm her daughter. It doesn't matter what you say, that attitude.
Yeah.
So I got in the car. My mom, love her. So you talked to the doctor?
I love her.
I said, uh-huh. And I go, well, let's just go get lunch. She just goes, so what'd they say? I said, Mom, it's bad. You have a couple weeks.
And what'd she say?
Can cure. Okay. So we drive in silence. We get to the house, and we have to make the phone calls and stuff, because my mom wasn't eating real well just because of the pain. And we thought, they'll give her an IV, okay? They'll give her some liquids, It's so naive. No, they don't do any of those things. It's comfort care. And I appreciate hospice. And hospice had to teach me a lot in those 13 days. Yvonne actually moved in with my mother, and then I was there whenever I could, and Pam went back and forth for her job. And we decided, Yvonne and I did. My other sisters did not. Of course, if you know me, I don't listen to anybody. We're going to party for 13 days. 14 days. We're going to party. And when I say we're going to party, we're going to allow my mom to be loved. Whoever loved my mom had the right to come spend time with her. Pray with her, sing with her, bring her favorite snack even if she couldn't eat it. I didn't care. And Laverne Tripp was on the stupid, we had a CD player in there and she wanted it to play all the time. And we had a thing in there and we had to move her downstairs because hospice told us that it was important to move her downstairs. But the reason why they told us that is because we thought she was going to be more comfortable. That was not the truth. But they knew that when she died, they wouldn't be able to get her down. So you're just in this whirlwind. But God showed up so much during those 13 days. One time, and the hospice people told me, you can either go with her or you can stay. She's got one foot in heaven and one foot here. She's struggling. And I looked at them like, how is my mother struggling? My mom was one of the most godly women I ever met in my life. And they said, because she's going to glory with your dad, but she doesn't want to leave your kids. Oh. So they said, go with her or stay. You've got to make, and I thought, go with her or stay? What are you guys on drugs? I didn't know. I was just so confused. And they're giving us all this list of stuff we had to do. And, I always wanted my mom to look nice. And so my big thing was every day when all these people in and out of the house, they had to change the sheets. Yeah. We'd cut all of her nightgowns down the back and we'd put a fresh nightgown over her so that she would always be fresh. Right. So one day.
She has beautiful hair, too.
Yeah. One day, she said, Shelley, do you see the laundry chute? I thought, laundry? I mean, of all things, right? And she says, yeah, there's this light, this bright light. And she said, there's like a chute. Well, I didn't want her to go in there because then I wasn't going to have a mom. But I said, okay, let's go. Let's go check it out. And she would walk me through, the light and different things. But then we came back. So I was okay. You know what I'm saying? But to get to experience my mom seeing the light and saying it was like a laundry chute, that it was a tunnel taking her somewhere, that was pretty cool. I'm very thankful now. Wasn't thankful at the time.
And, she was helping you.
She was preparing me. Then another time, she told me about the lace, the beautiful lace. And, she was a seamstress. Right. So that would be something she would recognize. There's the bride's lace or something she was telling me, and it was, that was really neat. But we were probably a week into it now. And so we knew the time was getting closer and closer. And
thanks.
She said to me, I was going to go to the house, and Bonnie was there. And she said, I want pumpkin pie. It's August. And I looked at her like, okay, I'll go home and make a pumpkin pie. I mean,
right. Whatever you want,
I'm a little tired, but okay.
Yeah.
And she goes, no, I don't want you to make it. Just stop at the store in the morning. I was like, it's August, okay, but whatever. So the next morning, I had come to work, and I'm headed to the house. I stop at the Publix, and there's one little tiny miniature pumpkin pie in the bakery. Wow. But God.
But God. Yeah.
So I head on over to the house to give Yvonne a break, and just hang in, and Denise and Dennis Brooks come by, good friends of my mom's, to spend time with her. And right. We were so gracious. We would step out so people could have time. Right. I had 50 years with my mom. These people needed that time, and my mom needed it because I felt like my mom needed an identity. My mom needed to know she was loved. So I was getting ready to walk out of the room because we'd moved her downstairs and all. And she goes, are my bags ready? Okay, Mom, your bags are ready. She goes, put them over there. And she pointed, and I said, okay. She goes, it's just so beautiful here. And she's telling me about a banquet table.
Oh, my gosh.
And she tells everybody's there, and she says the food is just unbelievable, and we can have whatever we want. And she goes, I want dessert first. I said, okay, Mom. And she said, I want it. So I walked, and I ran and got that pumpkin pie. And I took a little bit, and I put it on her lips. And she goes, oh, it's so good. She goes, it's so glorious here. She just looked around, and you could tell she was in heaven. And she was just at the banquet table. And she was taking in the food. So then she says, make sure you give Denise some. So I went and got Denise a piece. And you could just tell the peace on my mom's face. She was in glory. It wasn't fair that I wanted her not to be. But we came back. Next thing we know, we're back in the living room. And I'm thinking, okay, how much more of this can we do? We're doing all this traveling, you know. So it was we're probably about day 9 now. And good friends said, let's do communion with her. And I'm like, communion with her? She's barely eating, and you want her to choke on the bread? I mean, you know,
I know.
And we did it. But I was hovering over. I felt God lift me over and looking down and was preparing me. We put it on my mom's lips, and my mom was just so beautiful. She was just radiant, and we knew it wasn't fair anymore. It was not fair to be her daughter, and it was not fair to not let her go. And so we made it through that. She was still talking a little bit, so I got in bed with her. And my mom and I had this funny saying. My granddaughter, Chloe, her first great-grandchild girl, did this hilarious laugh. She would go, like this. It was really cute. So I did the laugh. And I said, Mom, do the Chloe laugh. So Mom did the Chloe laugh. And then I said, Mom, is there anything you have to tell me? And she said, yes. And I said, okay, Mom, what can I do for you? She goes, you are faithful. And she squeezed my hand. And she says, I need you to do it. She told me I had to get these red bags and the jewelry. She wanted me to make these bags for all the kids. And I said, okay. So Yvonne went to go get ice cream because there's priorities, people. So she went to get ice cream. And when she was gone, I kept seeing this flash go by. This flash go by. Now, I'd never really been in that room at my mom's house that I was preparing these bags. I mean, I had, but not like by myself at night, you know.
Right.
Things are different when you're by yourself at night.
Yeah.
And I just kept seeing this flash. And I kept hearing this weird noise upstairs. Now, remember, we would move my mom downstairs. But I kept hearing something. So Yvonne gets back. And we kept hearing this noise. And I said, oh, my gosh. My dad has come to get my mom. Yvonne looked at me like, well, what have you been doing while I was gone? So, come on, we're going upstairs. So we go upstairs. And we walked into my parents' room, and it was empty because everything was moved downstairs. And I could feel the presence of my father, my dad. Gordon Lynn came to get my mom because my mom and him had been dating since she was 17. She'd never been with anybody else, kissed anybody else, ever dated anybody else. And he knew he had to take her with him on that journey. So I got mad, and I said, come on, Dad, she's downstairs. Yvonne's looking at me like, okay. And we could feel my dad literally walking down the stairs with me. So there is angels among us, people. You just have to have your eyes open and want to invite them in. So we
and
get
you
downstairs.
heard them, right? You actually heard them.
I know.
So instead of the flashes of light, you actually heard something walking, right?
Yeah,
upstairs.
preparing the way. Yeah.
Right.
So we get down to my mom. My mom's laying there, and she's out of it. And she put her hand up, and she goes, Gordy, Jesus. Gordy, Jesus. She kept putting. Now I am freaking out, people. I know it's close. So what does the responsible me do? I gotta go to the radio station. Yvonne looked at me like, you're leaving me.
You're leaving me. Aww.
She called me and said, Mom, you need to come back. I went back. And she kept saying, Gordy and Jesus. We finally got her settled down. The next day, hospice has been there, and they said it's closed. You know, she's got all the signs. She's struggling. She doesn't want to leave your kids. You got to let her go. This is the worst thing in the world, but the best thing in the world to let your parent, your friend, your sister, your child go when there's no hope. You have to, for everybody. So I decided it's time. I was going to go home and change clothes, get some new clothes and stuff. I literally left, got home, 5 minutes from her, got in the shower, and she died. I know now she didn't want me there. She didn't want that to haunt me. She wanted my last moments to be the Jesus and Gordy. She wanted my last moments to be, the laundry chute, the lace, the pumpkin pie. I look forward to seeing a pumpkin pie every year.
Amen.
Because it's a sweet, sweet reminder of what God allowed me to go through. And even though it sucks, and I'm going to say it sucks. I had the best mom and dad. They stood with me, and I was, when you say black sheep of the family, I was like every color sheep of the family. And I did it really well because I'm a middle child, and I had to do it all. And they never ever left me. They were great parents. And one of the last things I remember when my mom was last couple days was she said to me, "What did I do wrong that caused you to do some of the things that you did?"
Oh.
And I looked her dead in the eyes and I said, "You did nothing wrong. Those were my choices."
Wow.
No regrets.
Aww.
No, I have no regrets. I have no woulda, coulda, shoulda, wouldas.
But just the fact that she
carried it.
She carried it.
She carried it.
Wow.
Yeah. So I know we were way over time. Sorry, but I own the place.
No,
but
I'm okay.
I guess my whole moral, it's hard for me to share it. I haven't really ever shared the whole thing. And I'm thankful that we did because of this week that's just happened. Don't have any woulda, coulda, shoulda, wouldas. Don't shortchange your moment because you're uncomfortable.
Right.
You don't like it. You don't feel like it. Whatever your stupid excuse is, stop.
Right.
Go to the ends of the earth to apologize. Go to the ends of the earth to not have any woulda, coulda, shoulda, wouldas. Because I have none. Yes, I'm crying because I miss her. Because today we would be getting ready to party. Because, see, Friday would have been not only the station's birthday, but my dad's birthday. So my mom and I would be up to all this stuff, getting ready for a party. And so it's not that I'm sad because of that she died, because everybody dies. I'm sad because these moments I would have been with her doing these things. Right. But I'm thankful and I'm praising the Lord that I had those moments while she was alive. And that's what I think people miss. They spend so much time fighting, so much time
holding on to things that...
Yeah, being a jerk, holding on to things, being the right, not admitting anything. Just, there's so much, can't even think of the nouns and verbs that they are.
Yeah.
But I can tell you one thing. I am proud to be Gordon and Erlene's daughter. I am proud to carry on their mission, their vision. I promised my dad, when the angels came to get my dad when he was in the operating room, right before he went in, I promised my dad, as long as I have breath in my lungs, WAPN will continue, and I would take care of my mother. When I said that, I meant it. It wasn't just to make my dad happy. I meant it. And here I am, still doing it. Amen. And so, if anybody's listening today and anybody's thinking, well, this is crazy, maybe it's crazy because you aren't paying attention. And maybe you're too stuck on what your problem is, not to take a moment out of yourself and say, what can I do for somebody else? And how can I make their journey easier? Yeah. Because I am thankful that hospice told me you could be with her or without it. I'm thankful that the angels came. I'm thankful for pumpkin pie.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And just that you witnessed and heard and sensed. Wow.
God is good.
You need to write a book.
Well, I write stickies. I don't write books. I write stickies. My mom's a journaler in the family, but you know, just
And Yvonne was with her when she passed.
Yvonne and my sister.
And your sister. Wow.
Yeah. You know, and you know, as you get older, you think, well, what do I want for my children? What do I want my legacy to be? You know, and there was a joke, I used to joke that I don't want a service or anything, and you could just take the money and get everybody gift cards to go shopping on me. Because, I mean, I know that absent from here, I don't need a funeral and all those things. I want you to live life now. You want to buy me flowers now? Buy me flowers now. You want me to take me on a trip? Take me on a trip now. You want to go to lunch? Let's do lunch now. Don't save for later, because you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
I mean, 11, 12 days ago, Charlie went to go do what he was doing, and Erica went, never thought. And my parents were older. My parents had a diagnosis.
Right.
So I had a moment. I had time.
Right.
Now, I didn't feel like I had enough time.
I gotcha.
But I still had time.
Right.
So live life to the fullest. One of my favorite saying is living life. I'm going to live life. No regrets.
And this week is just, it's here today, gone tomorrow.
Yep. So we're going to party at WAPN on Saturday.
Yes. And thank you for just telling your, I've been wanting you to tell your story with Mom.
Well, it's the first time I've done it.
Really? And it just, because
lots of
there
people
was
have asked
something
me.
so special about the little book. Yeah, the bookshelf by
and my granddaughter, who never met my mother, the second granddaughter, lives in her library. My daughter bought their home, and that granddaughter's bedroom is my mother's old library. You never know God's plan.
Right.
But you got to participate.
Exactly.
Yep. And we're done, honey.
Amen. Oh, well, happy anniversary to WAPN.
Thank you.
And to both Mom and Dad that are in heaven smiling and just doting on you and rooting for you and cheering you on.
We're going to keep it going.